Welcome to the Women at the Wheel podcast from AftermarketNews. I'm Maddie Weiner, and today I'm pleased to be joined by Kellye Wicker, Senior Director of Marketing for North America for Valvoline Global Operations. Kellye, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Malin. I appreciate you being invited to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited to talk to you today. Kellye, I was doing some research on you, and you have such an amazing resume. You've had so many interesting experiences. I wanted to start out with, you had some early consulting experience with Accenture after you graduated with your MBA from Northwestern. So I'm curious if we can kind of go back to when you got your MBA and tell us why you went back to do that. I know that's kind of like a, should I or shouldn't I for some professionals in the aftermarket.
Yeah, absolutely. So I knew I always wanted to get my MBA. I started my career off in sales, and I felt like I needed to do that because I wanted to go into marketing, and I knew that sales works really closely with marketing. Those two disciplines work hand in hand. And so I felt like I needed to establish myself in that industry first to have that credibility. But getting my MBA it's a great way to kind of transition, to different kind of career path. And so I know I always wanted to go, and I picked Northwestern Kellogg because it was one of the top business schools in marketing, which is what I wanted to study. So really loved it and enjoyed my time there.
Very cool, very cool. So describe what you did at Accenture. From what I've read, you've worked with some multi-billion-dollar companies on certain business strategies. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It was amazing. It was actually, I thought I would go into product management actually, but consulting was really called me when I was in business school. And so Accenture was one of those firms that I met with, and I loved their culture. And so at Accenture, my time it really was interesting. I worked in a variety of different industries with, like I said, multi-billion-dollar companies. And what I noticed is, big companies, small companies, they all have issues, right? They all need help. And so it was really great to kind of work with them and meet the people that really know their business, but it's just sometimes they're too close to it. So it's really interesting coming in as a sort of third party and giving that objective kind of perspective, and really helping them to make change happen a lot faster, and really bringing like extra additional arms and legs really to help them make that change.
Very interesting. Very cool. Now, I was looking at your resume, and you've worked in a lot of different industries. I'm sure you had, exposure to different industries with Accenture, but one of those was the food industry. I saw you were a managing partner and COO for a company called Lilies of Charleston. And you saw the company, from what I know, from its concept to really a full-fledged brand. So I'm curious how you got involved in that, and how did this role add to your, skill set?
Yeah, so this was a family-owned business. So it's basically my sister and I.
Cool.
We built the business from the ground up, and it's my father's recipes of hot sauce, barbecue sauces, and seasoning.
Well, wow.
So it was really fun. And essentially, an opportunity. My father was an entrepreneur, so here was an opportunity when I took a break from working consulting. I started to have a family, and so I needed to kind of slow down. But I love the idea of building a business, and so basically I developed a business plan, helped identify the supply chain and get manufacturers, and then also sell. So you wear a lot of hats when you're an entrepreneur. So the title sounds really fancy, but you're basically everything from taking out the trash to really selling. So it's a lot of fun. And that really helped because, when you build a business, you just learn how to take risks, right? You're just not afraid, and you take chances, but really, really good chances, right? Positive chances. And so that's really what helped me, I think, to add to the skill set. So my background in getting an MBA and working in consulting really led to this. I think being an entrepreneur helped to just provide that extra oomph to help me just, again, be more innovative and creative.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems like, too, filling a lot of different roles, you kind of get a sense for, maybe in your position today or other positions you've held, of what stresses and other factors are affecting other either business divisions or roles, like, a CEO, COO, things like that. I would imagine, you kind of have that broad spectrum of looking at a business through so many lenses because of that experience. Would you say that's correct, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think because because of working in the small buildings business from the ground up and seeing like how do you build a strategy and a business plan, and then even seeing it from my days at Accenture when I worked with full-fledged companies that have been doing this for a long time, you see the different aspects. So it's really interesting to see what they go through.
Oh, that's awesome. What's your favorite flavor of hot sauce that you guys or that, this company produced?
So we've got two hot sauces. That's one's mild and one's like hot. We call it a slow burn because it sort of the flavor first, then it kind of heats up. And then our barbecue sauce is the really good one is we have a mustard barbecue sauce. So it's really amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to find these. I love hot sauce. Very cool. That's awesome. Very, very cool. I wanted to ask about, you said you took a break with Lilies of Charleston, and during that time you were with the company and really starting it up with your family. You were having kids at that time, is that right?
I did,
Okay.
yes, yeah. So after I worked for Accenture, and then I got pregnant with my first child. Well, consulting it's tough, right? You're on the road Monday through Thursday every week, and so I needed to not do that and slow down my career a little bit for Kit to have my child. And so I essentially was a stay-at-home mom. So I got out of the corporate world for 4 years and had 3 kids. But during
Wow.
that time was an opportunity to really kind of really build my family-owned business. And so I took the opportunity at that time to really grow and develop that business. And it was
Very
worth it
cool.
actually. It really worked out. Yeah.
That's interesting. And are you still involved in that today, or?
I am. My sister runs the business. We've had it for forever, and her and her husband run the business. And so I'm kind of still the COO, but more of a silent partner. But yeah, she's doing phenomenal things. We've just expanded it and launching a popcorn line now with our
Oh, cool.
seasonings.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very cool. So, Kellye, you've also held director of marketing positions for an IT company called Recall and a medical equipment manufacturing company called Elekta. So, at Recall, you really expanded your initial role there, from what I saw. Can you explain how that happened, and how you really set up the company's first supplier diversity program? That's very interesting.
Yeah, it was really fun and unexpected. So I was working as, like you said, a director of marketing at Recall, and some of our sales we get through RFPs, and so I had an
Mm.
RFP coordinator that was under my team, and so I got to see firsthand how a lot of the people that wanted to do business with us asked us about our supply diversity program, and we really didn't have one. So we
Mm.
kind of had to make up of, we did by accident, if you will, do business with diverse suppliers, but it wasn't anything intentional. And so really had an opportunity there. And so in walks in this a new manager of procurement who was really big into supply diversity. And so the two of us teamed up together and created this program. So it was really interesting because I learned so much from her. And she really needed help marketing it. So we worked
Oh,
together
okay.
to really market it first internally and kind of get the executive leadership team on board, and then marketing externally through our website and communicating that. And so it was really, really a lot of fun.
That's interesting. Okay, very cool. One other question I did have, I was curious to know a little bit more about the supplier diversity program that you worked on. What is it like? What was your goal with that? What certain aspects went into creating that program?
Yeah, sure. So, like I mentioned, we didn't really have a supplier diversity program, so it was an opportunity. And so, but to get it going, we had to really kind of convince this executive leadership team the importance of a program and why it would be valuable for us. And so we hired an external consultant to help make that case, as well as show them sort of benchmarks from what other industries did, or other companies in the industry did along supplier diversity. And so the great thing is they were on board. We were able to launch it, and then once we were able where they agreed to it, once we were able to agree to it, then we launched it. Created required developing guidelines for what the program looks like.
Okay.
It required basically training the different department heads, if you will, because they are responsible for bringing in suppliers and their different departments. And so we had to train them on the importance of a program and put some guidelines in place in terms of what percentage do we want to be diverse suppliers. And so we did that. I worked to help get it on our website to really market it and communicate that to our customers, our partners, and really get out there to our sales team. So when they were having conversations, they can actually talk about it as well. And so it was just kind of a, change management piece aspect to it that really helped to kind of drive, um, the kind of the popularity of this, and really kind of get it out there in the marketplace.
Very interesting. Okay. Okay. Now, Kellye, you joined Valvoline as its Senior Director of Marketing in April 2021. And I'm curious, you've worked in so many different industries. You have a very well-rounded, marketing expertise. What initially attracted you to the company after, working in so many different industries outside of automotive?
Yeah. So actually, it's the brand. I mean, it's
Okay.
iconic. So when
Right.
they actually found me on LinkedIn, so LinkedIn does work. Um, and so when they first talked about this opportunity, it sounded interesting, and they mentioned the company Valvoline, and I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I know this brand, and I'm not even the biggest car enthusiast, but I knew this brand because
Right.
it's so big. And so that really attracted me to it. And then, of course, talking to the individuals that I'd be working with, I just kind of fell in love with the culture and the people and the opportunity. Coming back from my background of consulting and even being an entrepreneur, I love to kind of go in and help build stuff, and they were looking for someone to help support them in their B2B marketing space. And so I really
Oh,
liked the
okay.
opportunity a lot. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Very interesting. So, Valvoline's gone through so many changes since you've joined the company. And I'm curious, what strategies have you used to, navigate some of those changes and new challenges?
Yeah. So, I mean, what I find in my career is that change is just consistent. And
Yeah,
so you just have to get
totally.
used to it, right? And again, and I like change. To me, change signifies growth. Otherwise, you're standing still. So, what I try to do really with my team is first, try to understand. So, what is the rationale behind the change, right? Why are we making this adjustment? So that I'm
Hmm.
able to articulate that to my team. And so, transparency is important. So, I make sure first I'm clear about what our objectives are and why we're changing. Um, two, it allows us to then kind of refresh and reset. So, how do we reestablish our goals and objectives to meet this change, and then get everybody on board to that, and looking forward to the future. So I think it's transparency and really just kind of getting an opportunity to start things new.
Yeah, yeah, very cool, very cool. And I'm wondering if you can, that's an amazing outlook to me. And I know you are in charge of quite a bit of, people, and you have a ton of responsibilities under you. So I'm wondering if you can kind of give us an overview of what your role encompasses at Valvoline currently.
Sure. So as a senior director of marketing for we call the installer channel segment of the business,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
basically the for me. So essentially, we work with installers that do oil changes for consumers, right?
Right.
And so my team works really closely with the sales team to make they have the right sort of messaging, and the way we're telling our solutions is consistent, and also making sure that we're able to do a lot of demand generation campaigns and activities to bring in new installers into our fold.
Oh, okay, got it. So it's like maintaining your current installers and bringing new into the fold, and the best ways to do
Absolutely.
that.
Exactly. That's right.
Very
Yep. So we
interesting.
do a lot of events and trade shows. We do a lot of email, digital communications. Right. Exactly. We work with the sales team closely in terms of helping to train, and et cetera.
So how big is your team? How many people are on your marketing team?
So we have 16 people on our team.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Very cool. That's quite a lot to manage, I'm sure. And I was wondering, as a female in leadership, what is the best piece of advice you would tell other women for navigating, executive roles like you've had, and the one you are currently uh, doing today?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So I would say a couple things. So one, for sure, be unapologetically you, right? Be authentic. Never feel like you have to change who you are for a title or for a role. And I feel like a lot of times women have to do that, but you're there for a reason. So I'd say no, absolutely. Don't feel like you have to change. Um, be visible, right? So there is an opportunities, there's things that we do, as women, that we should be proud of in our teams that we're working on, and we should tell people about that. We should not feel bad about communicating that and marketing that, right?
Totally.
So always be communicating, always marketing what we do. The other thing I would say is to be also actively involved, in helping other women as well, right, throughout the organization. I think that's important because, we all need help. We all need help, and take that help from other people as well, and not just from other women, but from other men too that support women. So it's important to also recognize that you need help as well.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many, we've talked about this on the podcast before. There's so many great male mentors in the industry that are cheerleaders for women, as well as other women in, executive roles. And I'm curious too, based off of what you said, is there any experience or any key people in your life that you feel have shaped the way you approach, leadership, in particular, being a female leader today?
Yeah, so in every organization, I always get people inside the organization as well as outside. So I always have my mentors that I can kind of go through to outside the organization and really be, candid about things that I'm experiencing, things they are. And usually it's a person that's in a higher level than I am. So I have a friend that's a higher level that's able to kind of support me and give me some advice. But then within the organization, it's great to have your champion, your board of directors, if you will, right?
Yeah.
People that you can kind of go through as well. So your manager, as well as, I would say, be intentional about picking people outside of your department that also know you, that you can talk to and get advice from, because the more people you have inside the organization advocating you in your department and outside of your department is really important.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. That's great advice. Yeah, if you're, peers and then people that are kind of like looking in from the outside. So very cool. As a manager of a team, as the leader of a team, I guess I should say, what would you say is some of the best what would you say is some of the best management advice that you've been given in your career and you've been able to implement, and that's really worked for you?
Wow, let's see. So I guess I would have to say, I find as a manager, you have to be flexible, right? So even as I think about when people ask, what's your management style? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I necessarily have a management specific style. I mean, maybe I'd like to, but I think what happens is it's kind of like when you have team members, they're all different, right? If you think about it, it's kind of like your children. When I say not just, they're all different, right? You love them all, but you love them differently. I think the needs are different in people. And so I think the way as a manager, as long as you can inspire for one, but also be able to flex. So some people need more hands-on attention. Some people need less. Some people, there's different times and there are things going on in their career where they just need different things from you as a manager. And so my thing is, I want to build my team, right? I want to make sure that they are inspired, they are doing well, they continue on a good path, whether they stay on my team or not. And so it's important to help to support their career paths. And I think you have to be flexible in that.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love that. Yeah, very true, very true. And do you feel that, as a woman, you bring different attributes to the table than, male leadership does, or do you feel that, that's not the case, or what are your thoughts around just, what female leadership, I guess, brings to the table?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, actually. I think, not to say that men aren't diverse, because they are, right? People are different in their backgrounds and experiences. But I think being a woman, especially a woman in the career, that's especially if you're a mom, especially, right? I can speak to that because I'm a career woman and I'm a mom, right?
Right.
I think having that skill set of trying to balance the family and balance multiple children and then work and then the household and the husband, I feel like it does bring a lot more, because you're used to, again, developing and dealing with different personalities.
So true, yeah.
I think patience, a huge amount of patience, a lot of patience. Organization, right, as you're trying to get everything together. So I think it's organization as well. I feel like we do multitask a lot, whether it's, it remains to be seen whether, sometimes people say multitasking is not always, it's hard to say focus on one thing, but I think that lends itself to a different kind of skill set, right? So because we do multitask, we can handle multiple things at one time. And so I think that's important, because you get things thrown at you so much during your day and during your week. I think it's important to be able to handle that.
That's so true. Yeah, that's 100%. Now, Kellye, last question for you. I'm curious, how do you feel each of us can be better champions of diversity in the automotive aftermarket?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, one, be intentional about recruiting and trying to talk to and interviewing people of different backgrounds because there's definitely an opportunity right in this industry for sure to reach
Oh,
out to
yeah.
more people. And I don't think people realize this how great this industry is. And so I'd say that's one is how do you talk to more people and bring more people into the industry. Two, I'd say be active, right? So be involved in organizations like, Women in Auto Care. And
Yeah.
or a lot of organizations that are already established. So step into that role and be a participant in that. And then from there, I'd probably say lastly is try to be, try to start something, try to be a leader in some aspect. So as an example, in addition to my full-time job, I'm also head of the women's employee resource group here in Lexington for our headquarter group.
Oh,
And that's been
wow.
super fun. So we just started that recently. And so what we do there is we do a lot of things around social networking, community involvement, career development. So maybe there's an opportunity in your organization, someone to start something or get involved in something from the ground up, but that's also an opportunity as well.
Yeah, that's a great example. And yeah, I know other aftermarket companies that have, women's resource groups and other things like
Mhm.
that, yeah, are very helpful and supportive is, I think, the word, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Well, Kellye, thanks so much for joining us today on the Women at the Wheel podcast. I've enjoyed learning about you and your career trajectory, and we really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Madeline. I appreciate it.